Renaissance within, becoming the complete human. I was a kid when I was introduced to the Renaissance through my grandfather's set of encyclopedia, 1960s, edited by Arthur Mee, full of great stories, vivid pictures, and musical names. So this was the set of encyclopedia. I still have a set of it. I got custody of it. Musical names along with the stories: Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Donatello, Botticelli, Dante, Copernicus, Galileo. And I learned that the word is French, meaning rebirth and reawakening. And I wondered, I was curious, there has to be something sleeping before it's woken up and something that needs to be dead before it's reborn. So what was it that was dead? What was it? Why did it sleep? Or was it put to sleep? And my curious mind, since then, since my childhood, got into this task of trying to find out how and why. And what I discovered was, and growing up, I was fortunate not to have my curiosity and interests fettered or shackled. I was a voracious reader. I was an avid night sky watcher, fascinated by the Milky Way and the constellations. I was into music. I used to play sports. I really enjoyed spending time with people, with community, listening to their narratives and their songs and stories. With this advantage, gradually I could understand what Renaissance accomplishment was about. And I also could realize what was it that the Middle Ages, the period before, a long period of about 1,000 years before Renaissance, what it had done. And what the Middle Ages has done was suppress the human potential, the human in all of us. And the Middle Ages in Europe had focused on the pursuit of the divine, faith, study of the divine instead of human. And with the rediscovery of the great works of antiquity, what gets inspired is the rebirth of the human rather than divine powers. Human potential is something that we see being celebrated throughout the Renaissance in each individual, each artist, each thinker, each scientist, each architect that you see. These are not just monoliths. These are not people who are expert at just one thing. These are people who combine, who integrate potential, a range of talent. And what Renaissance celebrates would be creativity, curiosity, imagination, invention, discovering new things. These are the things that celebrate human, right? So let's walk, and something else that happens along with it. It's for no reason that the prevailing philosophy during this period is known as humanism, the celebration of the human. What it does is it privileges the individual. There is no curbing of the potential of the individual. There is no restriction on what an individual can do. The individual is let free to celebrate the potential. And the thinker, the artist that emerges during this period is not just a specialist of one craft, but an eclectic, multidimensional individual. She happens to be a character, the artist or the thinker is a character who can master different knowledge domains, different skills, different practices, combining mathematics with philosophy, architecture with languages, science with art, And that is what we see displayed in the works of Renaissance polymaths. Let's walk you through some of their works. So the first one, I'm sure that you are familiar with this. This is Gutenberg Bible, a product of the printing press invented by Johannes Gutenberg, which not just spurred an information revolution, literacy, but also the spread of ideas that, the encyclopedia has been a part of. I'll show you two examples of the typical Middle Ages works, grand mosaic works and frescoes, grand but rigid and austere, stylized and spiritual, not really celebrating the human but the divine. It was also because of the technique that the artists had used, which was very quick drying pigments that was used for frescoes. But then there is a revolution, the technical breakthrough that comes through and is revealed in the works of Jan van Eyck. And that is the technical breakthrough, the invention of oil painting. It's slow drying and allows the artist to spend more time to work on details. And we see the magic here in the works of Jan van Eyck. And Jan van Eyck, again, like a typical Renaissance artist or individual, combines art, science, craft, and technology together. He is a chemist. He specializes in optics. He is a diplomat. He is an entrepreneur. And he is also an artist. Just look at the dimension of this work. It's 24 inches, 23 inches by 32 inches, not really a large piece. But can you imagine what oil paint, a technical innovation, has now, permitted an artist to accomplish? The detail. And you can see it in this work. You can see, the dimensions. This is a mirror on the wall at the back of the painting. The perspective is, of course, one of the things that has been mastered by Van Eyck. But look at the rosary and the mirror and the lens, the mirror on. It's a convex mirror, and the kind of reflections that you see on it and the details that you see, the chandelier hanging from the ceiling. You just need to knock on it and hear the metallic sound. That's what the feeling is. But this is what has been accomplished by Jan van Eyck, a man who combines many talents. Here is a page from the book that an artist, a mathematician, and a geometer created or wrote, Piero della Francesca, right? And it's a book that combines mathematics with other sciences, with geometry, to train people to realize the potential of combination, integration, fusion of disciplines. And here is a work that you would see that Piero della Francesca creates. The illusion of a recess, the illusion of depth on a surface that is utterly and totally flat. And this is where, perspective, which was the holy grail for artists, for millennia, artists had been trying to achieve or accomplish that illusion, that would communicate depth or volume, and they hadn't, but this is something that is made possible by the Renaissance artists, using projective geometry and the principle of vanishing point to create that illusion of depth. And we see here in Da Vinci's work how this particular illusion has been created using radial symmetry. And now we're going to look at a series of works very quickly to just get a sense of how an individual can combine so many interests, master those interests, just because of indomitable, insatiable curiosity. It's a drawing he used to keep codexes, journals dedicated to the study of the human body and a whole lot of other things in nature. This is the heart. This, of course, is a flying machine based on study of birds and their flights. This is the set of internal organs that he had studied. And then, of course, there's a turbine. It would seem like, this person is an engineer, and along with this, lots of other stuff that this person had innovated. It's all one person doing so many different things. There's the range. And then, a study of musculature or anatomy, and you'd wonder who this is. And I'm sure you know who this is. But there is more. This is what's called an ichthyograph, which is a survey of land done from, the bird's eye view, using the bird's eye view, but there were no drones or satellite images those days, so he just had to work with his engineering knowledge and created this. And this is 1502, and this one is a bird's eye view of a part of Tuscany in Italy. And all of this has been, and of course, this is a revered and creation of the same gentleman, and this gentleman is Leonardo da Vinci. And he is the epitome of a Renaissance individual, combining, integrating so many talents, realizing them, right? A polymath, an inspiration, and a lesson for us all. And this is what we need to remember. This is how we can generate or bring about a renaissance within us, allowing the human within us, the possibilities within us to come true. This particular drawing you're all familiar with, the Vitruvian Man, symbolizes or presents to us the philosophy of humanism. The individual is the master of a fate, destiny, and everything that is out there, in her control or could be controlled by her. A person who belongs to the world as symbolized by the circle, and the universe at the same time symbolized by the circle. So a dual presence, a person of the world as well as a person who is spiritual and in connection with the infinite. But the problem is, where are these polymaths nowadays? There are not too many to be seen. And what does one think is the reason? Most of the people that I know are specialists. They're engineers, doctors, bureaucrats, managers. They're all happy to be defined and summed up by one word. And what could be the reason? The reason is not too far to find. It's our education system. So, and what happens to young kids at home? There's the expectation of the society is to create a specialist. And why we don't have polymaths is for the simple reason that all these virtues, all these activities or interests that the polymaths displayed or practiced are not really virtues that are encouraged either at home or at school, right? So children are often shunned and admonished, you have these things, don't ask questions. So their curiosity is curbed. Put away your guitar, don't waste time in music. Stop reading storybooks, it's a waste of time. No more sports, it's a waste of time because you need to specialize. And I'm sure you have experienced this. Maybe I'm too old or too out of date, or things have changed, but I'm sure some of you have experienced this. And it's not difficult to imagine what such admonishment or curbing of human potential would do to the individual, right? And out here in this quest for specialization, I would just, like to bring to you a quote from one of the great science fiction writers, Heinlein. A human being should be able to change a diaper, plan an invasion, butcher a hog, con a ship, design a building, write a sonnet, balance accounts, build a wall, set a bone, comfort the dying, take orders, give orders, cooperate, act alone, solve equations, analyze a new problem, pitch manure, program a computer, cook a tasty meal, fight efficiently, die gallantly. Specialization is for insects. And we need to now, so keep in mind, what the goal of education is. Is it to empower us, empower individuals, empower the learners, or to diminish them, to restrict them to just become a specialist? That's the challenge. And it's great, specialization is great, but I think it should not really come at the cost of our potential. And that is the reason or that is the lesson that Renaissance teaches us. That it's all possible, it's always possible for us, each one of us, to become a specialist. But it really helps if we knew the context in which we are practicing our specialization, if we have more capacity to understand the world better. The other thing that we must remember, that Renaissance is not just a phase in our history, inspiration for us to go for. It's an objective that we must obtain at any point in history, more so today, because we need each one of us to be at our full capacity to deal with the kind of challenges that are facing us. So we'll just look at some of the takeaways. What are these lessons that we must remember, right? And the first, of course, is for us to remain intellectually curious and continue to learn and acquire, keep an open mind and keep learning. Secular, to develop a secular outlook on life. Once again, never becoming a slave to a doctrine or to a dogma or to an ideology, but be open to questioning, open to new discoveries. The third one is beauty, development of beauty. And the final one, of course, is for us to always respect humanism, an individual, and cherish and nourish the potential that an individual has, right? And if we manage to do this, I'm sure that we not only end up bringing our own Renaissance from within, improving ourselves, but also improving the world and becoming the complete human. Thank you.